Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm building a fun sort of spring card, and I want to show how you can make your own custom sentiments using these Brutus Monroe alphabet dies and word dies. They have some that are word and they're sort of a cursive type writing. They also have these alphabet dies and you can get them in capital letters and lowercase letters. So I'm going to start with the background, and I'm using this diagonal pinstripe from the stamp market. And since I'm doing a background and I'm using a piece of paper that's already cut down to size, I want to make sure that I can keep my background cardstock in place while I'm stamping. I can't use the magnets because they will get in the way of my background stamp. So what I like to do is just put a tiny bit of tape runner adhesive onto my MISTI page, or my MISTI grid page, and then kind of get rid of some of the sticky with my fingers, and then that will hold it down as I'm stamping. Now I'm going to be using my honeysuckle surface ink and my speckled egg surface ink. These are some really light spring-like colors, and I'm going to kind of alternate them so I get different strips of color on the background. You can't see it very well here in the video. They're very light colors, and with those stripes they don't show up very well, but I promise you they're there, and you can see them in the final photos that I have at the end of this video. And I have more videos, or more photos and more links to different things and descriptions over at my blog today. So like I said, I'm just alternating the stripes, stamping them out. Here's the look of it all stamped out. Like I said, it's really light. So now that I have my background stamped, I'm going to go ahead and stamp out these little peeps. Now these are from the Brutus Monroe Stamp of the Month, and this is the stamp set for February. I'm stamping out these cute little peep bunnies, and I'm using just some Versamark black ONYX ink. I'm going to be doing some colored pencils with these, so I did make sure to hit them with my heat gun before I went coloring to make sure that pigment ink is totally dry. I didn't want it smearing anywhere while I'm coloring. Now these are my Prismacolor color pencils, and I'm just using 4 colors. I'm keeping it really simple. I'm using some sort of bright or pastel-ish type spring colors: pink, purple, yellow, and sort of an aqua blue. And I'm just going over these peeps with a really light layer of this color. And then along the sides where you're going to get some of that shading, I'm going over with the same color but adding a little bit more pressure, so I'm getting a darker pink. So I'm getting 2 shades out of the same color of colored pencil, and it's a really easy, really quick way to color. Now I sped up the rest of my coloring here just so we can move along. I just wanted to show you what the different colors here look like together. I really love these sort of bright pastel type colors for this spring card, and I think they really work well with that striped background. So I'm doing the same thing on each of these peeps, just putting a light color on first and then going back over on the side, adding a little bit more pressure and adding that shadow type color on the side. And then after I went and I colored all of these peeps, I cut them out. I fussy cut them all out. It really made me wish I had a brother scanning cut, but I don't. So I just took the time to fussy cut them all out, and now I'm spreading them all over my pinstripe background, and this is going to make a really fun card. Really bright, really springy, makes you think of candy, and I loved it. So just scattering them all over my background, and then I'm going to go ahead and adhere them down once I have them in place. I'm kind of turning them in different directions. I'm also just making sure I don't have a lot of the same colored peeps next to each other. I want it to look a little bit random. So I'm not thinking about it too much, just kind of spacing them, scattering out the colors. And then I'm going to take my Brutus Monroe craft glue with my fine tip applicator. I love this fine tip applicator. I put it on my little craft glue bottle, and it helps me put just a little bit of glue behind some of these smaller pieces, smaller die cuts, and I love the control that it gives me when I'm adding my glue. So like I said here, I'm just gluing these all into place. I kind of skipped most of the gluing because I think you guys get the general idea of how to glue things. And then once they're all glued down, I'm going around the edges and just trimming off anything that is overhanging with my scissors. So it's all just a very clean background, and I thought it was really fun how colorful it is. Now, since I wanted to make sort of a custom sentiment, I don't have a stamp for a sentiment with these peeps that I wanted. So I'm showing you how I'm now using my word dies from Brutus Monroe. I'm going to be using this scripty type hello, and these are really fun word dies. I use them a lot on a lot of my cards. I love that they cut out very thin, and I love how big they are. They can really be the focal point of your card, or they can just be a supporting sentiment, however you decide to use them. I'm running it through my Platinum 6. I'm just running it forward and then backwards, just making sure I get a good cut. I don't normally find that I have to cut it twice in my Platinum. My Platinum has a lot of pressure and it does cut out my die cuts very well, but sometimes I do just like to roll it through twice just to make sure I get everything cut out. So now that I have my hello cut out, I'm going to cut out the word peeps so it can say hello peeps. I just thought that was really cute. So I'm using my capital alphabet letters, letter dies from Brutus Monroe, and I'm just going to cut out those letters out of just some plain white cardstock. Running it through my Platinum 6 again, just the same way I did the hello dies, and I'm just going to cut all those letters so I can then build my sentiment. Now these are really thin, tiny letters. I love that. They're really unique. But if you have problems getting them out of your dies, just take a pokey tool and sort of poke through those holes, or a needle, or whatever you have, and they'll come right out. So I'm using my Brutus Monroe glue again. Now you can see I cut out 2 of those hellos. I wanted a little bit more dimension on the hellos than I did want on the peeps. So I'm gluing 2 hellos together, and that's just going to stack them up, giving a little bit more height and stability to this die cut. I find this is a really great way if you want to put a little bit more height on these small sentiment dies, instead of trying to really do a lot of detailed cutting and gluing with some foam adhesive. Just cut the sentiment several times and stack it up, and you'll get some really nice support behind there because it's evenly supported, and you're going to get some dimension. So I'm just kind of lining this up, wiggling these sentiments together. And then if you have any glue kind of squishing out the sides, what I like to do is just grab a towel that I keep in my craft room, and I just kind of rub it over my sentiment and kind of just pick up some of that glue. Now, I didn't want my peeps to get lost on my background since they are white. They were kind of blending in. So I just cut down a piece of vellum, and I'm going to be gluing my sentiments onto this piece of vellum and then onto my card. It's going to be really simple, but this vellum, you can still see the background through, but it's going to help the sentiments stand out a little bit. So I'm taking my fine tip applicator again with my glue, just adding some to the back of my die cut here. I apologize that the screen went blurry. My camera was focusing more on my hand. And then I'm just going to glue it onto my vellum. And you can see that just a little bit of that vellum really helps my sentiments stand out more than they normally would against that background. So I also am gluing down my word peeps, and you can see the grid through the vellum, so I'm trying to use that to kind of help line up all of my letters and make them straight. They're not totally perfect, but I'm okay with that. This is a handmade card, so it's going to have little imperfections, and I think that just adds to the charm. So it's a little bit hard to hide your adhesive behind a vellum. So what I like to do is I like to put little dots of that glue behind my sentiments, and that really helps it to hide behind the sentiments, and you're not going to see it squishing out. If you don't add too much, it won't squish out the sides, and you're going to get a clean look to your card. So that pretty much completes the card. Like I said, it's really simple, but I think that bright spring background really helps it to stand out. I have another card that I also created with this same look, same style, but I changed up the sentiment a little bit. I had a stamp that I was able to stamp out to make it say what's up, and then I cut the word peeps with the lowercase alphabets, and I think it's really cute. It's a little bit smaller. I also took some of those bunnies and I popped a few of them up on foam adhesive, so a few of them have a little bit of dimension and something a little bit fun and unexpected. So I hope you like this card today. If you want more information, I have it at my blog, and I'll have links below. Otherwise, Have a great day. Thanks for stopping by, and I hope I'll catch you again next time. Bye!